Hi everyone, and welcome to the Gemini August 2021 Spiritual Connection reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. I am Lauren. Hi and welcome. This is one of 3 connection readings I complete each month that helps to bring awareness to some aspect of your unique internal authentic self and how that part of yourself connects to your external environment. And this is all to help you be able to better understand your place, your purpose, and to experience emotional fulfillment and meaning in your life. So this reading is the spiritual connection reading. And what this reading is really meant to do is to help take a look at your energy along with your external environment's energy and to highlight any blocks that may be coming in from allowing you to engage authentically as yourself with your external environment, to be able to really reap the rewards of what happens when you interact authentically with your external environment, which is where you get a chance to really see your place, your purpose, feel that sense of belonging, and really understand how it helps elevate yourself along with elevating the collective human experience as well. So, Gemini, we are going to start this reading right off here with pulling a card to take a look at the energy you're currently sitting with. So we have, the 3 of Wands. Love that card. So the 3 of Wands is an energy of waiting for your ships to come in, so to speak. This is where you have basically taken action from a place of authentic passion, and now you're in a space basically allowing the actions you've taken to bring in opportunities. This is a very positive place to be sitting in. Very great. It's great energy. I personally love the 3 of Wands. Now, intuitively, what I'm feeling, so when this card comes up, this actually has come up quite a few times in the past 2 months for a few different signs. And each time it came up, it came with a slightly different message for me. And for you, Gemini, really there's this element of looking out to the horizon, but really kind of waiting with this expectation of something good is coming in. So there is this quality of kind of excited anticipation for what's going to be on these ships. Now I'm going to pull a card here. We're going to take a look at the energy in your external environment and really what you're being called to engage with. So we have the High Priestess. The High Priestess really denotes the energy around us being able to go within, connect through our intuition to Source Spirit, and be able to really understand that at our core, we have all the answers lie within us. It's a very powerful card. It can also denote, since it is the number 2, and the number 2 in tarot usually brings in the energy of decision making as well. So this can also make reference to having a decision to make, but knowing that you can rely on your intuition and your connection to spirit to be able to understand which way to go, which decision to make. It's a very powerful card in that it really harnesses that energy of intuitive knowing. So just right off the bat, to see between here and here, there's this quality of anticipation, of really wanting to see what's out there for yourself, waiting to greet these boats that are coming in. And in your external environment, there's this quality of basically being able to understand that as these ships come in, which is going to feel on an intuitive level the one that you're going to want to engage with. There is this quality that a decision is going to have to be made one way or the other. So if you kind of get an idea of, let's say this was you waiting on the hill and you're seeing different ships coming in from the different actions that you've taken. And you go down to greet them as they come to dock. Well, there's going to be a bunch of different options for you to choose from. And there's this quality that perhaps not all of them are meant to fulfill you specifically. That you might get down there and say, oh, you know, I've been putting action towards this one and this ship came back in, but you know, it came back filled with I don't know, let's just pick something. Came back filled with beautiful Persian rugs. And you know, I really have no place. As much as I love beautiful Persian rugs, I don't have the ability to sell Persian rugs. I don't really want to own Persian rugs. And so maybe this isn't the best option for me. But these other two ships are filled with something different. And as you kind of go down the line and you get to inspect these opportunities coming into you, there's this quality of being able to tap into yourself and your internal knowing to say, this is the option for me. This is what I've been waiting for to come in. So that's just kind of what I'm getting intuitively between these two. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some cards here to take a look at the blocks that might be preventing you, the challenges that might be preventing you from being able to really step into that place of knowing and to allow you to actually be able to see these ships, so to speak, in your external environment coming in. Because oftentimes it's very difficult for us to see opportunities as opportunities. We may be so looking towards one ship to come in and two others are docking, and we miss the other two. So there's this quality here that could possibly be an issue coming up, but we'll see what the cards denote here. Now I call this space the void. This is basically where it's a barrier that we create between our unique internal authentic self and our external environment as we move from childhood into adulthood. And it's based on each time we make the attempt to connect one part of our unique internal authentic self with the external environment and don't get a positive response. So this can look like trying to bring out a portion of yourself and it gets laughed at or ridiculed or told that it's not good enough. And so instead of continuing to work with that aspect of self to really be able to make it stronger and perhaps find a different way to express it, we tend to then instead hide that part. And we no longer want to engage that with our external environment. And so we create a barrier and another barrier and another barrier. And within this void is oftentimes it's the negative thought patterns, it's the fear, it's the anxiety that hold us back from authentic connection with our external environment. And this is where we can get stuck. Now I do have 2 links in my description box below that specifically discuss this void. The links are titled The Triad of Engagement, and you can watch those on your own time if you'd like to learn a little bit more about that. Otherwise, I'm going to get right into what I'm seeing here. So the first card, let me just kind of walk you through the cards that came out. We have the Lovers, we have the 2 of Cups, the Emperor, the Princess of Pentacles, which is the Page of Pentacles in the traditional tarot, and then we have the Princess of Swords, which is also the Page of Swords in the traditional tarot, and the World. So the Lovers, this card here is your challenge. This is their area of blockage. So the Lovers, interestingly enough, also denotes a choice based on what you love. It can also pretend to romantic love, but in this instance, because we're taking this in a slightly different context, this is really focusing on making a choice based from a emotional, heart-centered, and intuitive decision-making perspective. Now, where we can get caught up with this, and you think, that sounds pretty nice, right? I would love to be able to tap into that energy to make decisions. But this is where we often actually kind of get stuck, like what you guys are experiencing right now, because it's not always easy to make that decision to follow something that we love, because it can mean that we have to make changes in our life that can upset either our steady pattern we already have in place, or we could, potentially risk, financial loss, or it might mean that we have to tell our family that we want to pursue something that might change the family dynamic. So there's often when we feel that feeling of, oh, I would love to be able to do that, but we prevent ourselves from actually following through on that. That's really where we get into that place of frustration and where we can really feel disconnected from our external environment, because on some level we are denying some authentic part of ourselves. Now, followed by the Two of Cups, there is a quality here of, it's interesting, you have a lot of twos. You have your two as your main grounding energy over here, but we have the Lovers, which also denotes a choice. And then we have the Two of Cups, which comes kind of back into that decision-making process. Now, the Two of Cups is a wonderful energy in and of itself, in that it really highlights the concept of two people coming together, each with their own full cup, meaning each are emotionally fulfilled and healthy and happy on their own, and they come together and are able to share a really beautiful emotional experience from a place of equality. Now, with the Lovers and the Two of Cups coming up side by side, there is this quality of, this actually does portend to a romantic involvement, or something around a intimate connection that involves support, involves you having to make yourself vulnerable to meet another's full cup. Now, where I'm just kind of getting a little bit of this right here between these three cards, the Lovers, the Two of Cups, and the Emperor. And the Emperor is kind of your crux card here. This is really the main focus of this reading. It seems to me that one of these ships that's coming in is a relationship, or it's potentially, this could be a new relationship, this could be the strengthening of a current relationship, or this could be reviewing even a past relationship. But where you're kind of stuck here is this quality of wanting to, so if you kind of see this image on this card, there, these two people are vulnerable with each other. They are locked in this beautiful embrace. There's the Two Cups of equal sharing. And again, that's really what this card harnesses, the energy of equality, so that one person is not better than another. But as we move into the Emperor is a card where perhaps there is a little bit of a power struggle dynamic going on here, where there's a little bit of this control coming through of, I don't know if I want to share my cup with this person because I want to stay in control. And so there's a quality of coming back to this Three of Wands and waiting for your ships to come in, that maybe now it's not just you waiting for the ships to come in. Maybe now you have a partner or another person who is waiting with you. And that might change what you choose to see as an opportunity. Now, what's beautiful about the Lovers, and especially when it's not in a challenge position, is that it generally, even though it denotes making a choice from a place of what you love and that emotional connection to what you love, it's ultimately not really a choice. Because once the heart knows, the heart knows. And we can push that away, that feeling away sometimes when we get into our heads and we start to overanalyze. And Gemini, you are a card that is ruled by the thought, by the head. And sometimes overanalyzation can happen where you pull out of this the emotional core to yourself and really feel into that intuitive center of just, I'm going to go with what feels good. I'm going to go with feeling vulnerable with this person because I feel like I already love this person, or I've already made a choice on a emotional level to move. I already can look at two options and know immediately what I have an emotional connection to and what I do not. And so there is this element here of the heart's already decided. The heart already knows. And so if you allow yourself to move past this kind of emperor-like quality of, but I want to retain my control. It's hard for me to be vulnerable here. I want to be able to make my own decisions. I don't want to have to depend on another possibly to get in the middle of a decision that I want to make from the efforts I've put out there. And what you're being told as you move past the Emperor into the Princess of Pentacles and the Princess of Swords, which again is the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Swords, that this is a time of renewal. This is a time of getting kind of back into that beginner's mindset. With the Page of Pentacles, that can be where we go back to get extra training, or where we admit to ourselves we don't know everything and that we are kind of going out with the childlike sense of, okay, I'm going to go out and gain some more information about something. And I'm going to start to, again, beginner's mindset, start to test and play with maybe something that's come in from one of these ships. And the Princess of Swords, the Page of Swords, goes one step further with that. So that really focuses on, again, a beginner's mindset more around fact-finding and gaining context. So swords are really about your personal truth and understanding as you, again, from almost like a childlike beginner's mindset, start to play with your personal truth in the external environment, meaning maybe you start to share a little aspect of yourself, your truth, and you start to see, okay, where does this fit out here? Because we have the world connected to the Page of Swords here, and the world denotes having completed a cycle. It means that you have learned all of the lessons you need to learn up to this point, and that it's time to start fresh. It's time for, and now this can actually denote travel. It can denote a change in location, a change in job, something along those lines where not only does it denote a internal kind of completion of a cycle, but it can also denote an actual physical ending of a cycle, to where it does push you to embrace a new location or dynamic, or traveling somewhere new. So totality, this message in total here is really about realizing that the Emperor, so when we think about the energies of the Emperor can be both good and bad. If you think about an emperor ruling his or her kingdom, an emperor can be wonderful. An emperor can be a strong, charismatic, very empathetic leader who who only wants the best for their empire. Or the empire or the emperor can be the opposite. The emperor can be a ruling dictator who doesn't want to listen to anybody and who doesn't really care about his empire, with the exception of maintaining control. So there's this quality here of allowing yourself to step in and continue the energy of the emperor in your own life. We are each the emperor in our own lives. That really is a quality that it holds true to each and every one of us, because each and every one of us is a singular, unique individual living our own unique life experience. And no two people will ever live the same life experience, and nobody can live someone else's life experience for them. So there's this constant reminder of we have that ability to maintain our empire, so to speak. And we should always be aware of that. And that's actually what gives us the strength oftentimes to be able to live authentically as ourselves, to live from a heart-based place as we follow our passions, as we follow our emotional connection. So there's this element here of leaning in to vulnerability and love and equal emotional connection. And if you can let your boundaries go a little bit, because two people, there is the Empress card as well in the tarot. And those two people, the Emperor and the Empress, can rule their empire together. It's not always a singular task. You may be living your own life experience, but you can share that with somebody else as well. Well, they also are living their life experience, but you can bring those two together and elevate each one of your life experiences by creating a shared experience in your external environment. And so that's really what you're being asked to do here, Gemini, is to stay excited about what's coming in, but allow yourself to really be guided by the heart as you move into this next cycle. So again, there is this quality of things have ended. You're moving into this new cycle, chapter, version of yourself. Call it what you will, but it's going to be based, you're basically being asked by Spirit to go within, to tap into that higher knowledge that comes from emotional connection, to understand that you can actually be able to be vulnerable with another, but also to be equal with another. The Two of Cups is not a codependent relationship. This is a equal relationship where two people, again, come together on equal levels to love and support each other. And all you need to do is simply be able to release a little bit of that control, a little bit of that kind of overthinking of, but these are my ships coming in. I don't want to have to factor in anybody else. And and there's this quality too of perhaps overthinking. You might see your ships coming in and there might be this element of, ooh, that's what I've always wanted. And yet you might hold yourself back and try to convince yourself that another opportunity might be equal. And in reality, your heart's already chosen. The second that you saw the one ship come in and your heart jumped, that's the way you know that that's for you. And it's now about, since we're, starting a new cycle, it's about jumping into this or leaning into this beginner's mindset. At any given time in our lives, and I know because I've been there myself personally, and I'm sure if you think about it, you probably have been as well, or are right now. But I know for myself personally, there have been very humbling moments in my life where I've had to kind of go back to the starting line, so to speak, where I've gotten so far and I've learned lessons about myself, and then something changes, something ends, and I have to go back and now tell myself I may not know everything about this specific area, or I may realize that this whole chapter up to this point was all about allowing me to learn about one aspect of myself. But now, as I start the next chapter, I'm being asked to now learn about another version of myself. So perhaps up to this point, you were career focused and you learned your lessons, and now the next focus is about interpersonal relationships and being able to take a look at those from this beginner's mindset, from this element of kind of playing with it in the real world, possibly getting more information. This could actually look like maybe this is you guys moving in together with a significant other for the first time. Or again, gaining more information. Maybe you're starting to ask people about what it's like to go on dating sites, and you start to go on them. And then as you start to kind of engage, so let's just say this is you moving into a next chapter where you are focusing more on interpersonal relationships, emotional connection, that you're not quite sure who you are in a committed relationship. It's been a long time, or perhaps the last relationship wasn't a positive one, didn't end on a positive note. And so now it's time for you to kind of see, okay, who am I? What is my truth? And what's the context for my truth? And this would look like maybe going on a few dates and feeling out, okay, who am I as I express myself to this other person? How am I coming across? And maybe each time you go on a date, you learn a little bit more about yourself through that date. Maybe you realize, no, this isn't the right person for me, but I also realize why. Because as I'm talking about myself, I realize I want somebody who blank, or I don't want somebody who does blank. And that kind of comes back to this Two of Cups here, which is sharing that emotional connection from a place of equality. And so it's like this journey, this new beginner's mindset of realizing, okay, well, what do I bring to the table? And who would be my equal here? Who would be the person who is going to take these same opportunities and be able to kind of step into this, somebody that I could see sharing my empire with. So I really get this feeling here, Gemini, that there is this quality of new relationships, or really following something that you love that's going to bring in that choice to simply follow your heart, is going to allow you to come into this beginner's mindset, and it is going to help you really realize something new and exciting in your external environment. And that's why you're being asked right now to kind of let go of what's past and move into this fresh energy of connecting to your intuition, of connecting to making decisions from the heart from the heart instead of making decisions from the head. And I know, Gemini, that might be difficult for some of you. I have a lot of Gemini in my chart, even though not one of my 3 major placements. So I understand the overthinking part of how that can get in the way of you being able just to authentically and in flow be able to say, but I love this and I'm going to do it. But when you do, I can tell you from my own personal experience, when you do, it's a wonderful experience, and you'll realize the more you do it, the more you can release that overthinking, the more you start to utilize your intuition and your emotional core as a muscle, and you really start to just kind of feel into decisions. It's a beautiful learning process. All right, now I'm going to pull 3 additional cards here for some additional insight for curiosity, courage, and contemplation. And this is where we're going to engage the Triad of Engagement, which is the coaching tool I was mentioning earlier in the reading. That I do have the 2 links in the description box below that kind of explain that a little bit more. So for curiosity, oh my gosh, you have so many cards. So we have Yin and Yang. We have Door to Romance but upside down, which is interesting. Caring Connections, number 14, and Blossoming Abundance, number 3. Wow. Well, geez, Gemini, I don't think it gets any more beautiful than this. So with curiosity, this is where we're going to help build in some awareness questions to help you bridge this void, this little bit of a challenge between you moving forward on opportunities from a place of intuitive knowing and possibly blocking yourself a little bit because you don't want to move forward from a place of just kind of intuitive emotional understanding. So with the yin and yang, this is a card of balance. It's number 22 as well, again denoting a sense of balance. And it really, to me, is mirroring the Two of Cups here, this quality of being able to take two parts of yourself or yourself with another and really leaning into that beautiful quality of equality, the quality of equality. And Gemini, when you think about it, you're the twins. That's your Zodiac sign. And so there can be this element of duality in everything that you take on. But that element of duality can actually be brought into balance. You can utilize the two halves of yourself. So that could be another aspect here. You could be maybe it's difficult for you to make a decision from a place of just intuitive knowing because you have one aspect of yourself that really is like this and one aspect of yourself that's really like that. And there is this duality to your personality and to your life experience. But what I'm seeing here is that you can, true to your authenticity, there will be an option that when you feel that emotional spark that, oh my gosh, I would love to do that, that is going to be able to bring in those two dual sides to yourself. It will actually help bring those two together. Instead of looking at making a decision as perhaps trying to make a decision for one half of yourself or another, know that when you get that feeling of emotional connection to something, when your heart knows what it wants, that it knows what it wants and it's taking into consideration both sides of yourself. Now, the door to romance being upside down is interesting. I don't normally add reversals to the deck, so the fact that it came out reversed, I'm going to just take that because it, I don't know how that happened. But it's showing me here a little bit that this is the block. And so again, these two cards specifically coming up here, it's almost mirroring what I'm seeing above, where there's this quality of this door being closed and there is somebody coming in. Now, perhaps this can be taken one of two ways. Either this door has been closed for some time based on some previous negative experience in romance, and so you're finding it very difficult to kind of lean into this new relationship, lean into sharing again your life, your empire with someone else. Or that it might not be that this was closed based on a previously negative experience. It could be something simply or more around the lines that you've just not been focused on it. And suddenly now we have somebody coming in who really wants to meet you cup for cup. And there's this element of hitting a little bit of this block here of, I haven't been focused on that. I'm career focused, or I'm hobby focused, or I want to be left alone to do my own thing. Wait a second, I don't want to open this door. But yet we have blossoming abundance. And there's this quality. I also love that the number 14 is coming through with this caring connection card, that there's this quality here. The number 14 to me denotes freedom through change. And so there is this element that this person coming in, possibly with this new relationship, is really going to allow you to embrace this new change, this new chapter that's starting, and to allow you to actually free you, to open this door and to really walk forward as this new version of yourself, and to kind of walk forward and help be your partner as you move back into this kind of beginner's mindset. So when we're looking at curiosity, curiosity is what helps us kind of open ourselves back up to our external environment. It's where we get to ask ourselves the positive what if questions. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a question here to help kind of bring awareness to helping overcome this block. So what I would say, and seeing these beautiful cards come in here, what would prevent you from wanting to share your empire, share with what's coming in on your ships? What is preventing you from wanting to lean into a new caring connection, an equal partnership? And this can be unique to each one of us. You might ask yourself that question and you instantly say fear of rejection, fear of failure because my last relationship failed. Or you could say fear of the unknown because I've never been at this point before with somebody. Or it could be fear of maybe taking action from a place of emotional connection and you haven't analyzed all the facts yet, and yada and so forth. But that's really the question that I think will help you gain more clarity as to why you're not moving into what seems to be very beautiful energy here. Okay, now we're going to pull a Power of Surrender card to engage with the principle of courage. And courage is where we get a chance to really allow ourselves to step into that seat of personal power, where we get to basically take the courage to make the decision to act authentically in alignment with ourselves. And this is where we get to flex that muscle of acting from a place of intuition and really bringing awareness to each and every little decision and action we choose to make, and allowing us to bring it back to ourselves to see meaning and create value in those decisions. And this can be no matter how big or small. Every day, if you think about it, you are making lots of little decisions, whether it's to stay at work an extra hour later, it's what you choose to eat throughout the day, it's what you choose to even watch on TV when you come home at night. All of those things are these small decisions. And what can happen is that if we're not constantly bringing ourselves back to a place of awareness with each and every one of those decisions, we can have days and weeks and months and sometimes years elapse without us engaging. We can actually kind of wake up almost out of a dream sometimes and look back at the past year and say, oh my gosh, what just happened? Where did the time go? And that really happens when we're not taking action with awareness and from a place of courageous connection to our own authenticity. So for courage, you have two cards here. We have surrender to the magic of who you are. I love this card. It's strange, but it almost never comes up in any of my readings, and I love that it came up for you, Gemini. It says, we all have magic in us, even in the mundane aspects of life. Remember that you are a magical being with a uniqueness and worth that come from just being you. I love this. And this is actually really at the heart of the entire reading here. It's really asking you, as you take courage, if you're trying to find the courage to make these decisions, to remember just how magical of a unique being you are. And so if you are feeling connected to something from this emotional place, well, then know that it's for you. It's part of your magic. And to also have that courage and confidence to understand as you maybe start this new relationship, just how wonderful you are, and to really allow the other person to respect and honor that in you, and to be able to do the same with them. And then we have surrender outdated beliefs about yourself. Let go of limited ideas about yourself that originate from the past. Then you can own your power and soar into life. Wonderful. These two cards really sum up right here, I think, kind of what's at the crux. Really where the Emperor is kind of stepping in and saying, no, I'm going to keep doing it alone, and I'm going to keep doing what I want to do. And it's coming from a place of self-protection. So that's really what this void is, when I was describing what this void is based on. This void is based and originated from a place of self-protection. But what you're being asked to do now, as you take courage to make these new decisions on behalf of yourself, to really walk across this void, to meet with destiny over here, it's time to let go of those past ideas about yourself that came from previous experiences. Maybe you did have a relationship that didn't work out well, that didn't honor who you were, didn't honor and respect the magic of who you were as an individual. But now you have somebody who will. Now you have somebody who wants to help you open that door to love and romance and support, and to be able to help you start to really, in honoring your own magic, start to help you believe that what you feel you love is true to you, and will honor this uniqueness, and will only continue to bring it forward more and more. All right, we'll pull one last card here for the principle of contemplation. And so this is where we're going to get a chance to kind of take a look at the consequences of our actions. This is where we get to engage with reflection, integration, and self-education through direct experience. So contemplation's a powerful concept because it allows us to tap into the principle of connection. That's where we get to connect the dots between what we were curious about, where we took action, and then what the consequences were. And we get to reflect at any given time when we start to engage with contemplation in our life. And we start to integrate it on a daily basis, not just trying to seek out that one time a week to meditate or formally meditate, but to simply at the end of your day reflect on what happened, and maybe perhaps how you could have better made a decision that reflected your internal authentic self, or to reflect on just how great things went or how wonderful this new person you're bringing into your life is. That the more you engage with contemplation, the more you really engage with continuing to evolve on a spiritual and emotional level, because you're constantly learning. You're constantly seeing the connection between situations and action taken and consequences that ensue. So we have two cards. We have boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? And we have Akasha. Your guidance is divinely guided. Beautiful. So what I'm seeing here is there is this quality of, so when we're contemplating, perhaps where there is a little bit of this, if this pertains to you specifically, now obviously everybody's situation will be different, but if there is this quality of perhaps kind of stepping into this emperor-like energy of, but I want to control. I want to control my space. Even though I know what I love and I may want to share it with somebody else, because of fear of the past or just fear of relinquishing control, I don't want to, kind of give in vulnerably to this. I don't want to share my empire to a certain extent. In contemplation, it's a good place to take a look at boundaries. So when it says, where do you need to establish better boundaries? Well, this can be brought back to yourself here of maybe this is your point of being able to learn a little lesson here, of that sharing an empire with somebody and connecting with somebody on an equal level doesn't necessarily mean that you have to literally share everything. That you don't get your own alone time, or you have to compromise on everything. That's not the lesson here. The lesson here is that you get to be your own person and meet the other person as their own person, and you two actually, come together on an equal footing, but that you're both here to help each other continue to live your own life experiences to the best and highest potential. But it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice yourself for them or vice versa. So there is this element here of contemplating, okay, where can I possibly establish those boundaries? Maybe in the past, relationships didn't work out because I did not have those boundaries established. I was compromising too much, and myself got lost in the relationship. Or the reverse, perhaps you were too rigid and you didn't let somebody in. You didn't allow yourself to be supported by another, and it was too rigid. And that person, again, you weren't coming together as equals. You were kind of setting up your wall and telling them when and where they could meet you outside of it, which is also not going to allow for a successful and emotionally connected relationship. And then with your guidance is divinely guided, what this is telling me now is there's this element of going right back here to the High Priestess, of knowing that you know, and of knowing that at any given time you can tap into your connection to your intuition, which is your direct connection to Source Spirit, to be able to really ask yourself these deep questions. Is this person right for me? Is this new chapter where, as you're starting to make decisions from this beginner's mindset, you can actually be able to go within and be able to bypass all that mental chatter and to just get guidance, get divine guidance. And so this is kind of what we're this month really learning that lesson in engaging authentically with your external environment, which in this case really seems to be focused on an individual. So again, individuals are part of our external environment. Everything is external to us, including people. And the lesson here is really learning to trust yourself again, is to learn to follow your heart and to allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to share your empire. Now, for some of you guys, this could actually be maybe pertaining to a work partnership. Any type of dynamic where you're going to be coming together with another person, cup to cup on an equal basis, that might require each one of you to have to support each other and to come through with an energy of love. This could be actually, starting a business together. One of these ships come in and the ship captain wants to partner with you, you get excited about what he's bringing in, and he says, great, well, let's start a business around what's on this ship together. And it might not be romantic, it may actually be instead platonic, but a deep connection, focusing on some new avenue that might be this new start. And the door to romance might be the door to a new romantic, adventurous perspective of life. But either way, we do have that blossoming abundance coming through here. So there is this quality this month, Gemini, that you're stepping back into awareness of your own personal magic, releasing anything that might prevent you from having the courage to act on your own behalf, to act on what you love, and possibly to actually enter into and engage in a new relationship. Beautiful reading here, Gemini. I'm going to pull just an extra couple cards just to see if any other messages want to come out for your energy or your external energy. Any further clarification for the Three of Wands? Any further clarity for them? We have the King of Swords, and we'll see if anything wants to come out over here for the High Priestess. Ooh, what's going on? Can't take all these cards here. That's a lot, but we can take the Ace of Coins. Beautiful. Okay, so for the last message here, we have King of Swords. King of Swords is someone who is strong in telling the truth, in understanding. This is strong air energy. So actually this is kind of more within your wheelhouse, Gemini, of tapping into that strong mental energy. But he is somebody who wields his sword of truth. And he understands how to be able to yield that. He's somebody that would actually be a very good person to go to if you had a question, because he would very fairly state the truth. So if you asked him a question, he would take a look from a mental perspective of all aspects of what you're presenting to him, and he would come back with, from his perspective, what he believes is the truth of the situation, and which way he could give good recommendations as to which way to go, how to make that decision. So there's this element here of really kind of stepping into your own power. Now, this could also denote that maybe you're getting into it possible, for those of you that the romantic quality really comes through here, that this might embody the person that you are going to be engaging with, this very strong on the mental acuity side of things, but a very strong and truthful energy. Somebody who's very quick with their thoughts and wields their truth with authority but fairness. This could be an Aquarius or another air sign. So it could be that you're dealing with another Gemini or another oh, I'm just blanking on the other air signs here. Libra. So this could be that, this is who you're engaging with, and that one of those two energies actually might also be the person that maybe you can go to for advice. So if you do have a Libra or an Aquarius in your life, to be able to maybe engage with either one of those, and they'll kind of help you maybe cut through a little bit of your indecisiveness or fear by providing you with some type of clarity. And then over here we have the Ace of Coins, which is a beautiful card. It really denotes that fresh start on a tangible level. This is the seed of the divine giving you basically your new seed. This is the next chapter. And what I really feel is, once you kind of lean into this energy and you tap back into the trusting yourself, back into the magic of yourself, that you're getting this golden opportunity out here to be able to plant a fresh start, and that is what's really going to grow into your abundance in the time to come. So this really is a time of fresh start with this golden opportunity out here. But you have to lean in. You have to lean into knowing what you love, and lean into just feeling into a situation. Don't overthink it, and you'll be able to really capitalize on this fresh start in your external environment. That's really what Spirit's asking you to do. It's time to kind of follow the energy of love, tap into your emotional core, move away so much from, getting kind of lost and trapped in the mental side of things. Allow yourself to have that beginner's mindset, and you'll see that golden opportunity on the other side. All right, Gemini, fantastic reading. Really great energy this month. It's fresh, it's new, it's based from the heart. I have a feeling some of you guys are starting really wonderful relationships, or maybe even restarting an old relationship from a place of mutual understanding and love now. and that you're really going to be tapping into that magic of who you are. All right, if you would like to book a personal tarot reading or a one-on-one coaching session, the links to my website are in the description box below. I look forward to completing your third reading for the month, which is your love connection reading. Those will be out next week. And I hope you all have a wonderful illuminated day as well as the rest of the month. And I will see you all in September. Bye, Gemini.